Hello everybody, here we are today talking about whether or not the Anaheim Ducks' relatively good start to the season is about to fall apart, and if it even matters. So before we get started with that, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me, or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So at time of recording this, Anaheim is one of those teams that feel like they're actually out to a pretty good start to the year, and could be one of the more improved sides in the league, and that is good, considering they've been down and out on their luck, and have just in general been a really bad franchise. Seeing this year, which may not manifest into a playoff appearance, still being an improvement would be big for the organization and the fan base to say, hey, we are headed in the right direction. However, you kind of look at the recent events, a 3-game skid, and you start to wonder if things are going to go on the back end and just kind of fall apart. So we're going to be taking a look at some numbers, and I'm going to give my take on where I think Anaheim's season is headed. So at time of recording this, the Anaheim Ducks have 24 points in 26 games played, and have been able to avoid that back-breaking losing streak that you'll see a lot of teams that are trying to move up in the standings kind of have, that keeps them out of the playoff race. And that is really good for Anaheim. But when you take a look at some of the underlying numbers, there are reasons to be concerned for this team. Actually, some big reasons to be concerned. They rank 30th in the league for goals for per 60 at all strengths. They are dead last in the league in expected goals for per 60 at 5-on-5. And the special teams aren't exactly favorable to them either, as they're 29th in the league on the power play and 24th in the league on the PK. This team, of course, last year had a lot of issues where they were taking a lot of penalties. That's not really ideal for a team like this, where we saw they had a lot of issues defensively. And on top of that too, looking at some things like offensively, we've already discussed, they have 8 games where they've scored 1 goal. And that is not good, absolutely. But you also realize they're winless at that time. And you understand this is just not a team that's built to win 1-0. Nobody really is anymore, but for Anaheim especially, it's a huge issue. So then you kind of look at all these things and you say, how exactly has this team been playing at a near 82-point pace? And it's been a tale about as old as time, as a really good goalie performance by Lukas Stahl has been able to kind of pull them out of the bottom of the basement a little bit here. This goalie is 3rd in the league in goals saved above average, and he has a .921 save percentage on the year. The game log might look a little bit weird, mainly because it seems like you'll have games where he allows 3 goals or more relatively frequently, but then you understand that a lot of this is just the guys in front of him are kind of letting him down, if we're being honest. The highest high danger chances against per 60 at all strength, the 3rd most medium danger chances against per 60 at all strengths, and they're coming from areas that, again, you'd already expect. If you're already giving up a lot of high danger chances and medium danger chances, you expect them to be good chances, but it's low slot, it's high slot. Down the middle, Anaheim is just giving up a lot of opportunities, and they are trying to have their goalie patch things up, which isn't really ideal. So you have a young goalie continuously have to play the hero for a team that looks, at least in the standings, better, when in reality there's still a lot of issues with this side. And I would say that as the year goes on, expect maybe worse performances from him if he is going to have to face the quality of chances that he's had to face so far. So for a team that hasn't even finished above 60 points for a season in multiple years, probably not the best recipe for success, but Anaheim is going down that road at the moment. Not like they're intentionally trying to do that, but it is something where you could say things are starting to give a little bit. And I think in another way you could see some reasons why this team might be about to falter a little bit is not really getting a lot of help from some of these guys that you would expect to see. Trevor Zegras, Mason McTavish are 2 of those names that you're a little bit concerned about. 2 guys that were taken with top 10 selections. And both of them have combined for 6 goals and 14 assists on the year. They have been net negatives for this team. And Trevor Zegras, it's really just been unfortunate for him. Injuries, poor play over multiple seasons now. Looks like a guy that may not exactly be part of Anaheim's future. But you are just seeing, again, some of these players that might really be expected to be part of the future struggling big time. And I know people always go out and say, well, these players are supposed to go out and develop. This is a team that's not really built for the now, they're built for the future, and that is fair. But you're looking at players that have played, over 200 games in the NHL, over 150 games in the NHL, and they are having really bad seasons, or they've never even really had true breakout years. Mason has not had, seasons where you'd say, this is what we really would want to see from a 3rd overall pick, and that is very tough for this organization because they have a lot of youth on this team. They have got their top 10 scorers, 5 of them are 23 years old or younger. That is a big deal for them. And we just kind of keep kicking the can down the road for this organization, saying, it's all right, they are young, they're supposed to develop, it's going to be okay. But I really don't think that it is okay, because you are expected to try to be better. And I don't know that this team actually will be. The points may be better, but there's still a lot of problems for this side. This team, like we've already discussed, has got a lot of issues ranging from offense to defense, and it's not even just that. This organization has made some questionable decisions. Of course, Pat Verbeek took on the Jacob Trouba contract. Not the end-all, be-all for Anaheim, again, with the way they're kind of set up, but this is still something where, did he think that this was going to be fixing the team defensively? Again, there's a lot of holes that they need to plug there, and why take on all the money? That's something that really did confuse me right now. So a group where the younger guys, especially some of them, are not looking like they might be able to live up to what the hype could be. Again, still very early for some of these players. A defense that is in shambles, questionable decisions, especially involving, again, assets and asset management. I could see exactly why fans could be just very frustrated where they're at right now, and why a collapse would be very frustrating for them, and why I think that it would be for the organization as well too. You can't just keep getting beat down and say, well, it's okay, guys, next year this, next year that, we're here to develop. You want results, and I know that it's one of those deals where sometimes rebuilds take a while, but Anaheim is in that spot right now where you start to wonder, how exactly is this going to pan out? How long is this going to take? And for the Ducks, I'd imagine that it's probably easier for their fans to get really frustrated because the other two teams in their state look like they might be having a little bit more fun. LA is probably going to make the playoffs yet again. That's a rival for them. The San Jose Sharks are, again, a bad team, but look like they might be better. Might be on the up and up a little bit faster than Anaheim, and of course they haven't been down as long as Anaheim. I think 1 year a little bit later, maybe 2019 I think was the last year that the Sharks made the playoffs. Anyway, the point stands that they are the worst team in their state, and in general they are just right now not looking like a side that's probably going to make the playoffs anytime soon. And I know that we'll probably kind of defend this a little bit and say that it's easy to point the finger at a team that's stuck in the mud and say, oh, it's your fault for X, Y, and Z. And I do get that, and I do think that, of course, it's not as easy as it seems to try to go out there and rebuild the side and get them up to being a playoff caliber team. But, at the end of the day, that's what you got to go out there and try to do. And Anaheim is in a situation where, when do we point the finger at the group and say that it's time to expect results? When do we say that this year or next year we should expect something? Because they are getting closer and closer to being 10 years without a playoff appearance. So I don't exactly know how things are going to go here for this team. I do think that at the end of the day, they probably will finish bottom of the division, if not the conference potentially, probably not the league, but it's still something to pay attention to here. And I wanted Anaheim fans to know that if they are frustrated, that is totally right and absolutely deserved, because, yeah, it's hard right now. But I will say this, it doesn't really bother me if this team fails to make the playoffs. It's more about how they finish out the year, if they show some heart, if they show some improvement, if some of these younger guys develop, and if this group can say, especially defensively, that they put in more effort. That would be big. It's one thing to maybe not be perfect, but be practically dead last in every major defensive category is a major blow. So try to get better at some of those things, and then I will say, okay, things might be better. But I don't know why I'm so heated about this. I think it's just seeing where this thing could go for Anaheim after having a relatively good start to the year. Again, kind of things get glossed over, just brushed over in this time. So there is my rant about the Anaheim Ducks today. Don't know why I feel like talking about them, but I really did feel pressed saying that I needed to do a video for them. What are your thoughts on the Anaheim Ducks? Do you feel like this start to the year is about to kind of collapse? And do you think it does matter? Why or why not? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And you can love hockey, alright. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.